Welcome to our series, Driving Public Sector Innovation, where we look at how public sector agencies are unleashing AI-powered database solutions to drive innovation, improve agency operations, and deliver more effective services securely. I'm Wyatt Kesh with Scoop News Group. I'm here to talk about how AI applications and the cloud and scalable databases are helping to empower state and local agency services is Ted Ross, Chief Information Officer for the City of Los Angeles. Ted, thank you so much for joining us. And I'd like to start by asking, how are advances in AI database technologies and cloud computing in particular making a difference in enhancing your organization's efforts at improving operations across the City of Los Angeles?
Thank you, Wyatt. Great question. I would say advances in AI, database technology, as well as cloud computing, I really see them as providing three key benefits to enhancing operations and services here at the City of Los Angeles. First of all, advances in database technologies are really changing the way that we retrieve, store, manage, and most importantly, we gain insights from data. In a world with an absolute explosion of structured and unstructured data coming from everywhere from our typical operations and apps that you're used to, all the way to something like social media, these tools are critical to making data-driven decisions at the second largest city in the US. Databases are essential for this effort. Secondly, cloud computing. I think traditionally cloud computing is known as infrastructure, no capital, scalable infrastructure. But I think even more importantly, I would argue, is the value add services. We now have access through cloud computing to subscription, access to tools and technologies that we would never be able to build on premise ourselves. And thirdly, when it comes to AI, my gosh, what a tremendous opportunity conversation, as well as a tremendous concern and fear conversation. In my career, I've never seen any technology, any emerging technology that gets as much love and hate as AI. I feel like from our perspective, it's giving us new and transformative tools to improve content creation, such as Gen AI, workforce empowerment through employee tools. And I feel really very strong that we could also improve customer service through effective bots, virtual agents, etc. There is always an important role for human beings in customer experience, but even our best employees have no interest in handling customer calls at 3 o'clock in the morning. AI will allow them to sleep, while the tools handle basic requests in the middle of the night.
Well, there's so much on the plate of CIOs, and I'm wondering what perhaps is some of the biggest challenges that your organization is facing now, where all these technologies are converging to offer so many new capabilities.
Yeah, another great question. The world is increasingly urban. According to the United Nations, more than half of the world lives in urban areas today, and more than 2/3 of the world will live in urban areas by 2050. Urban areas have urban challenges, crime, pollution, traffic, you name it. Los Angeles suffers it as well as any other city, any other big city across the United States. And when we look for solutions to urban challenges, one of the ones that changes every year for the positive is technology. These technologies that we're describing have been especially important in equipping LA residents and businesses in dealing with these urban challenges. For example, we have something called the MyLA 311 system. It handles over 2.2 million requests for services every year. And that's a 50%, 50 increase from about 4 years ago. Through our mobile app and website, residents engage with over 1,500 city services, from potholes to graffiti to illegal dumping and more. And with AI tools, we are rolling out a modernized MyLA 311 mobile app, and it uses AI to classify, record, and locate the request. One of the concerns or issues that some of our residents have is we ask them to provide an address, we add just a type, where does it go, what's the issue, and they'll find this to be quite a bit of work sometimes, even though it could be very effective. But take, for example, graffiti. All someone has to do with this app is take a photo of the graffiti. It utilizes artificial intelligence tools to identify that that is graffiti, so it codes it as such. It uses geolocation to say where it is, so that field crews who correspond have an accurate location and address. It also identifies the field crew required. So if it's graffiti on a brick wall, that's different from a painted block wall. And so by identifying that that is a brick wall, it allows the field crew to bring the right tools and the right crew to the right location. So as you can imagine, an AI tool does a lot of work in the background that makes it easier for the resident, as well as easier for the city to even run our operations.
Interesting. You should mention graffiti. Was such an iconic skyscraper shot making the rounds lately. So interesting to hear you talk about that. I think one of the real underappreciated aspects of technology, though, is the underlying database technologies. And I'm curious, where have you seen powerful database solutions and analytics really helping to improve your organization's operations overall?
Yeah. Speaking of what's been in the news, just in the last week or so, Los Angeles experienced the third biggest winter rainstorm in our city's history. And
Yes.
to give you some frame of reference, Los Angeles averages about 14 inches of rain per year. Well, one part of Los Angeles received 13 inches of rain just in a few days. So if you can imagine, we had almost an annual amount of rain just in 2 to 3 days of time. So with weather events like this, it requires serious data gathering, serious coordination, and response to ensure the health of our residents. So we get a massive amounts of service requests, we have massive amounts of social media postings, we have massive amounts of neighbor conversations, we have large numbers of things like mud sites to track. There's a lot that goes into it. It is a data conversation, and it is a data tools and analytics conversation. So modern databases allow that structured and unstructured data from residents' complaints to social media posts. It allows us to use advanced analytics tools to quickly find areas of concern. So instead of just saying, you tell us about the issue and we'll come out in a couple of days, it allows us to actually correlate these items, triangulate them, pull them all together. It identifies high profile issues, lower profile issues, high priority issues, lower priority issues, and it allows us to send rapidly resources to the communities in need. I think another interesting angle to it is not only are we reactive, but allows us to be proactive and allows us to also ensure that every community, regardless of income level or demographics, so whether it's South Los Angeles versus Bel Air, it can give us the opportunity to get them the assistance that they need. In other words, data tools don't just make us better at responding to a rainstorm and preserving structures, preserving life, et cetera. These tools help ensure that government is more fair, more transparent, and more equitable while responding to a crisis. Quite often, wealthier communities are great at being squeaky wheels, and this allows us the ability to ensure that less advantaged communities also get the same kind of attention that they require. And I'll be proud to say, and I'm very fortunate, very appreciative for it, these last rainstorms, we did not have one single loss of life associated with the storm. You roll back about 60, 70 years with some of those other previous rainstorms, 45 to 50 Angelinas would die during such an event.
I appreciate your pointing out how data really helps a city like Los Angeles provide more equitable services. I'm curious, can you also share how database solutions, have translated into an example of where services have been improved to the public?
Sure. Uh, as we mentioned before, urban areas across the nation face challenges. I think one of the top of mind ones is housing and homelessness. Homelessness may come across to the average person as a low tech problem, and maybe it requires low tech solutions like just simply the building of housing. But one of the greatest technology tools to reduce homelessness is really in the area of data and analytics. Los Angeles, for those who don't know us, is 469 square miles. That is a spread city. That's a large geographic footprint, and we have over 4 million residents. That is a lot of neighborhoods. And as you can imagine, an issue on any particular street corner, it's easy for it to get lost or hidden without accurate data and tools. Modern database technologies and analytics has been allowing us the tools necessary to identify homeless encampments, to prioritize encampments, to allow outreach to be made to those encampments, to track resources that are being offered, and for results to be tracked. And I think the results to be tracked is an important one. Not every solution or not every proposed solution for the homelessness issue is as successful as people would like when they envision it. So with data-driven decision making, we could also see what works and what doesn't work over time. And with data-driven decision making, we've been making real progress on a very important social issue.
Appreciate that. And then lastly, can you point to any other examples where modern database technologies are helping, for example, automate operations or improve security or speed up, agile development, or finally enhance operational resilience?
Yeah. Wyatt, I find that in my role as Chief Information Officer, most modern issues often come down to being data issues. For example, cybersecurity. It's really about understanding the large number of digital assets that you have, so it's your inventory. Make sure that you prioritize them and put them in the proper tier as kind of criticality as an asset. Ensuring that you are patching and securing those assets, identifying cyber attacks among the millions of daily network events. This is constantly a data issue, an identification, a data issue, and a response issue. The city of Los Angeles also, if you can imagine, we use over 50,000 employees across all of our 45 departments to provide over 1,500 services to over 4 million residents, over 500,000 businesses. To do this well, you have to effectively understand, organize, and allocate all of these resources to best serve all of those communities. Again, a data issue. So we're finding it time after time that even if we don't recognize it in the beginning, ultimately it becomes an issue of high quality data, utilizing that data, leveraging modern data analytics techniques, and creating kind of a virtuous cycle between human resources as well as data resources to allocate in some of the best possible ways. We're a large city, so sometimes you look and say, well, you're a big city. That doesn't apply to me. I don't care what government you are, you never have enough resources to deliver on the requirements of what's expected of you. You have to apply often good private sector techniques to delivering good government services. So from airports A to Zoo Z, modern database technologies and data analytics, they're transforming the how, the what, and the who for operations in Los Angeles.
Well, Ted Ross, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to share not only your insights and perspectives on data and database solutions, but just kind of also scoping out how a city as large as Los Angeles is really coping with so many dimensions of public service needs and how data plays a role in helping with that. So thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.